Hi Taurus, here's a general look at your solar chart for December 2014, and as the month kicks off, the Sun and Venus and Mercury are all in one of the deeper areas of the zodiac. They're all in the Scorpio area of the zodiac, even though they're in Sagittarius, but for you it's the Scorpio area. So Scorpio and this area, which is about transition, is the energy of the snake, and the snake is the symbol of shifting gears from one stage to the next. And so as this time unfolds, which is it's around about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, with Venus moving out of there first on the 11th, you will be sensing and feeling your way forwards. You will be asking yourself some deeper questions, though, that's for sure. I say that's for sure, but you could be musing over certain truths or certain insights, or, as I say, asking yourself some deeper questions. You could be feeling very strongly that your values have been challenged a little bit. This is also chiming in a little bit with the long-running Saturn transit as well. And this Saturn energy is about to transition itself into the next area, the next house of your chart. So just on the level of the Sun and Venus and Mercury, which move very, very fast compared to Saturn, this is your instinct, your intuition, your gut knowing, helping you figure it out, weigh it up, sort it out. It could be to do with deeper feelings in a relationship. It could be to do with something more materialistic, like negotiations for something. You could be feeling that there are deeper bonds with someone maybe than you realized, and you could be feeling that also that there's something of a material interest here in this relationship as well, which is either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on where you're at and what's going on. This area is about legacies and inheritances. That's true. And it is about, as I say, a gear change. It's a shifting from one perspective to another. Mercury is in this area until the 17th, and so Mercury can mean that your thinking is more sensitive, it's more emotional, also more secretive. There's confidentiality issues, either you having to be confidential for somebody else or vice versa. You may be consulting, getting advice on certain things, but it's very, very easy to push your buttons, or indeed you can be swaying others as well. It's easier for you to be swaying others, particularly up until the 11th. And the Sun, as I say, is in there as well. Now Venus moves out of there on the 11th and goes into, well, it's chalk and cheese really. It's such a different area. It's got space. It's very outgoing. The next area. It's not so inward and introspective. So Venus kind of makes the great escape on the 11th and goes out into this new area, which supports relationships from those far away from you, supports relationships with those from a different background or with a different knowledge base or a different culture to you. And you could be receiving higher guidance. You could be receiving legal guidance as well, or you may just be looking into the legalities of this or that or the other thing. And then Mercury follows on the heels of Venus and comes into this, out of this very emotional sort of mood, into this new area. focusing your mind outwards now, looking towards the future, thinking about just refreshing your slant on things. And this is also an area to do with education. So again, teaching, teachers, advisors, mentors, could be you doing some of that, or it could be that you are, in receipt of that and being the guide or the guided. And then all the time this is going on, Mars is in a very, well, actually not all the time, Mars is in a very outgoing, expansive area right at the beginning of the month for the first 5 days, and then he goes into an area which is more to do with standing in a community, officials, authority figures, that type of thing. And also to mention that the Sun also follows on Venus and Mercury, moving into this very, very outgoing area. At the same time, though, Mars is still going to be in this area to do with the establishment, the status quo, bureaucracy, authority figures. It's also about your direction in life now, whether that's changed recently or not. It's about the master plan. It's about schemes and plots and plans. It's about where you're going. It's about your trajectory. It can be to do with, though, bureaucracy and just, as I say, the status quo, those in positions of power. Whether they really and truly are or not. But it's a very hierarchical area here. And overall, this transit of Mars could inspire you to take your responsibilities in the world more seriously, maybe put the word out on something, maybe beat the drum on something. And you could be more aware of having to meet certain standards in the eyes of authority, or some type of authority. Also, Mars here will help you to be decisive and dynamic in going forwards with plans and goals and ambitions. And you could get frustrated with the powers that be, because this is this area, as I say, it's a very hierarchical area, and those with a little bit of power might just be sort of throwing that power around just because they can. So you can get frustrated in this area here. But if you manage to keep your cool and not be too hasty, you'll make progress, and you will be proud of the success. Then we have this transit, or this shifting of Saturn. Now, Saturn has been in your opposite sign for a very long time, and Saturn is about to remove herself from that position there in Scorpio on the 24th, on Christmas Eve. So there you are, there's a Christmas present for you, and is going on into a new area until June, that is. So she'll be out of there for 6 months. And then she just nips back into your opposite sign for about 3 months, 3 to 4 months in 2015. So she's coming out of there on the 24th, and coming out of this, face-to-face sort of disagreement, or feeling limited by the opinion, the behavior, the perspective of certain others. It's also kind of added up to your really looking up to certain others and wanting to emulate them, wanting to aspire to what they can do, and you being a willing student in that regard. You cultivating inch by inch, very, 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 very slowly, another's good favor maybe as well. Some of you formalizing a relationship, putting it on a more formal footing. But of course, the pressures of Saturn can actually have caused a relationship to break if other components were already, stacking up in that direction. But if it was making the relationship, then, you can now take on more responsibility and take that relationship more seriously. Saturn moving out of there, though, going on into into Sagittarius. And this is an area to do with clearing the decks. It is the area of rebirth, but in order to have a rebirth, we have to have a letting go. And so therefore there can be some deep changes within you emotionally. There can be some clearing of the decks to do with the past, and this will be in a sort of slow, gradual way over the Saturn transit in this area. On a more mundane level, this can also revolve around property matters, financial matters, possessions which are jointly held, property which is jointly held, maybe finances which are joint finances, and you'll become more aware over this time frame of things, there being a lack of certain things that you got used to before, to do with a relationship, to do with finances, to do with property, to do with possessions. A previous arrangement, a previous contract, a previous setup, which might go on, into your past for a very long time, that actually being decluttered or ditched altogether as you start, to kind of metamorphose into this new setup, this new arrangement, this new contract, if you like. But for a while there, the two of them might be running along together. The old conditions and then the new conditions. And you Taurians born on the 1st or 2nd or with 0 to 1 degrees rising will feel this energy the most this month. And for the old transit of Saturn, you Taurians born in the last 10 days or with 26 degrees rising are going to feel this energy the most. And then, of course, there is Jupiter bringing in this new cycle until next August, right at the root of your chart, lighting up the home area to do with the neighborhood and the community, and your relationships there within the neighborhood or within a community. It might even be one over the wires, but it's a feeling of family or extended family. And it's also to do with property, place on the map as well. So it's a very expansive energy, which means that you may be making additions to your place of operations, or indeed you are moving into a new area. It can be like that, but doing it under this transit is usually quite it can be positive. It can lead to better things. And this, of course, is only your sun sign reading, so the natal chart has got to concur with this as well. But you could be getting more regular access to somewhere that you prefer, or indeed, as I say, relocating altogether. And you Taurians born in the last 10 days or with 20 to 23 degrees rising are going to feel that energy the most. And I just want to mention that we are getting some more Pluto Uranus sort of closing in and beginning to spark off each other again this month. So be aware between the 19th and the 26th, excuse me, where your ruling planet Venus is going over Pluto and making also an aspect with Uranus, and that's between the 19th and 21st actually, but then we have Mercury hard on the heels of Venus making an aspect with the same two, and then right sandwiched in the middle there is the moon in Capricorn going over Pluto and Uranus. Now where Pluto is concerned, this one's making actually quite a strong aspect to your sun sign, but it's actually in a very positive kind of a way. But there can be some kind of deeper connection there that you are aware of, and then a feeling of gear change, a feeling of transition there. And it can be quite radical, and it can be a little bit emotional as well. But as I say, it's in a very holding, supportive angle to your sun sign. It's evolution. It's evolution in the making. So you are being evolved through this position of Pluto, and long term this is, but on those particular dates there, particularly around about the 19th, give or take 19th, 21st, and also all the way through to the 26th. So be aware of that time frame there. Uranus can be a little bit jarring, but Uranus isn't in a humongously strong aspect to your sun sign at the moment. So just trust that the process is to do with nature, to do with how things need to change, and like the autumn leaves, fall from the tree in order to clear the way for the new buds to blossom in the spring. Whether that is technically, the spring, or is just the spring, your own spring in your own story of your life. And that's it for December. Wish you a happy time over the festive season, and also listen to your moon sign or your rising sign if you know them as well. That'll give you a little bit more, sort of add to or subtract from what I've said here. But also I'll see you again soon with the stars for 2015.